Under its director, Dr. Errol Southers, the Safe Communities Institute at USC's Saul Price School of Public Policy is proud to present an array of programs throughout the year, from summits and forums.
Since time immemorial, it is the act of violence that has probably been, for human beings, the greatest challenge to living healthy and complete lives.
To distinguished speaker series.
Since I wrote this book, I just realized the stakes that we're playing with here.
SCI also enables people to share their stories, no matter how hard to hear.
I was raised in a household where I learned racism, stereotypes, homophobia. That definitely had an impact on the way I viewed the world.
To foster sound solutions, SCI brings to the table various stakeholders, such as farmers.
These causes and these concerns, I think, led me to believe that extreme, measures were needed to address these extreme problems. And I think that that's a recurring theme and one of the key pathways to extremism.
As well as government officials and law enforcement.
One of the things that I really thoroughly enjoyed about SCI was the diversity and the uniqueness of the students who were in the class. I mean, being a civilian, I had the opportunity to work with members of law enforcement, mental health, public health, fire, emergency management. It was a great opportunity.
And of course, various communities. USC's Safe Communities Institute, standing for resolution, not rhetoric.
Good morning. I'm Jack Knott, Dean of the USC Price School of Public Policy.
And I'm Willow Bay, Dean of the USC Annenberg School for Communication and Journalism. We're delighted to welcome you to the University of Southern California and to be hosting this National Safe Schools Digital Summit.
This inaugural event comes at a very challenging time for our nation. The basic fabric of any society is defined by its capacity to facilitate safe communities. We all know the challenge presented by violence in our cities and our schools as we grapple with solutions to reduce the risk. We know that tackling multifaceted manifestations of violence requires an interdisciplinary, methodical, rigorous approach to understanding prevention and mitigation.
The purpose of this digital summit is to engage a national call to action, one that will help us identify appropriate research efforts, inform policy decisions, and deliver best practices to stakeholders. School violence is a dilemma that demands our collective leadership. Every American must begin to recognize their individual role in school safety. So thank you for joining us, for being part of the solution, and for helping us move toward a new understanding of this very complex challenge.
We also know you care deeply about the issue of school safety. Schools are our most valuable, critical infrastructure, housing our nation's most important resource, our students.
So we're leveraging digital and online capabilities and social networks to broaden the reach of these critical conversations. This digital summit is accessible, convenient, and free. So please share this summit and lead discussions on your social networks and in your own communities. Add your voice to our call to action. And now, over to the studio.
The people you will hear from today, the University of Southern California, and dozens of organizations have come together for one reason. It's why you're watching. We share a common goal. We want safer schools for our children and for those who teach them. What's happening here today is very important. It's the start of an overdue movement for change. It's a call to action. And the thousands watching around the country and around the world have answered that call. As we gather, this country has suffered thousands of fatalities and injuries in acts of school violence, hundreds of shootings, and an untold number of violent acts that go unnoticed because they're so regular. The panelists for today's summit have important insights that are too seldom heard in the national discussion on school violence prevention. It often happens that most of the important people with the greatest insights are left out of the conversation. I see that when I visit schools often, talking to students who say to me, No one ever discusses the policies or the processes or the technology that they're going to implement with us, the most affected. They see things that we cannot because they live them every day. Today's panel of students will reveal things we have seldom heard because people have seldom listened. The national conversation on school safety is often just about guns, guards, and gates. Physical security is important, but it's not a total solution. We want safe schools, not just well-defended schools. What's needed is a holistic approach to understanding school violence, exploring public health, public safety, and a range of other areas. Panelists we have today will speak to that need. And we should not ignore the reason that so many of us know about school violence. It's because journalists who report on it. Journalists are chroniclers, the probing intellect seeking new ideas and insights into why school violence actually happens. The journalists you'll hear from today will help us understand the considerations they face, the decisions they make, and the role the press can play in fostering safer schools and ultimately a safer community. What starts among us today cannot end here. It must not end here. At the University of Southern California, school violence prevention is a primary focus of the institute that I lead, the Safe Communities Institute. The university is developing a national center of excellence to conduct comprehensive research so we can truly understand the threat we're facing. For example, I'm personally engaged with a team here, combined with our School of Engineering and another institute where we look at virtual reality, and we're looking at a research project entitled The Impact of Building Design Attributes on Occupant Behavior in Response to Active Shooter Incidents in Offices and Schools. We're going to be trying to determine whether building design, where the door is, where the wall is, how the stairwells are situated, can actually make a person intuitively more safe if the unfortunate things happen. Today's summit will spark new ideas, new motivation, and new partnerships. Our children are suffering, and it's our task to remedy that. We are the solution we've been looking for. With that, I'm privileged to offer a message from our honorary co-chair, Terrence Shepard. He's the news director of WLRN Public Radio, the award-winning NPR affiliate in Miami.
Hello, my name is Terrence Shepard, and I'm news director at WLRN Public Media in Miami. I'm also chair-elect of the Radio, Television, Digital News Association and RTDNA's outgoing ethics chair. I'm sorry I am unable to join you for this important discussion about school safety. Our staff at WLRN was on the scene of the immediate aftermath of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting. We also continue to cover this story because it will be part of our lives and our community's lives for many years to come. The continuing incidents of the school shootings strike such a nerve because schools are in some ways seen as the ultimate sanctuary from the most violent acts. The breach of that perception of schools as a hedge against fatalities is leading to a deterioration of trust for institutions that are seen as a bedrock, a fundamental right in the United States. School safety. I have a few thoughts for journalists covering school safety issues. In the field, journalists, those handling breaking news, reporters, photographers, producers, and editors, make sure the environment has been secured. Keep in mind your own safety first. Also, make sure you treat survivors with respect and dignity. These incidences are traumatic and can produce long-lasting images for those in the field. So approach your interview subjects with respectful caution. The second big point is after the shooting, because when schools are violated, it leaves long-lasting trauma. And we're talking a decades-long recovery process, one in which survivors likely won't ever completely get over. So as the story develops, keep in mind that even though weeks, months, and years have passed, survivors will still have the trauma with them. I also have words of wisdom for editors. No matter how tough or resilient you think your reporters may be, do not forget they are also humans, and covering these stories can leave them with trauma. So be kind to yourselves and your colleagues and take some space to recover. journalists and the public as a whole need to keep in mind that these school violence events can cause long-term physical and mental trauma. The mental health issues in particular can be far-reaching for the entire community, including students, teachers, parents, and neighbors. Thank you.
As a father, there is no rule book, there's no script, there's no way to anticipate this, there's no rules of engagement. All I know is since that day, I've been working on my gut and my feeling as a father to make sure that we are doing everything we can to make changes, not only in our school, in our district, in the state, but in the nation. We have a real epidemic here and a big problem. I want to thank the folks here at USC for inviting us out to speak and be surrounded by very smart people who know a lot more about this than I do, but I'm glad to be partnered with them. You'll hear later from my son, Jake Lacer, about the experience that he had, and I say it over and over, he is well more experienced than me in a lot of things due to that event. In that time, I've been privileged to be able to work in this physical security industry, and with that experience, and my son coming back, when he finally went back to school and said, "Dad, I just don't feel safe in school anymore," to take my experiences and to call out to my industry in the commercial industrial physical security industry and put letters out there through LinkedIn with great response. And we've done a good job as an industry to sell, to create, to make great products. What we don't do is enough training. And the industry has poured out and said, we're going to change that, and we want to get that training out there. What I asked the audience of this event today, school boards, districts, teachers, administrators, there are, I'm told, a set of standard operating procedures for the schools. I don't know that they're being read, listened to, or updated at any moment. I can tell you from the experience that we've had over the last 8 months, there might be these rules. They are not put in the forefront, and that's something that needs to be changed. This is an epidemic that is not going away anytime soon, and if we look at the statistics from last school year, just through January to May, with the amount of school shootings we had, I think number was 1 a week. That's way too many, way too many. And if we look at the experience of Marjory Stoneman Douglas, where 17 people lost their lives, another 17 were injured through a gun-shed. There's a real issue here. I'm a proponent of the physical security space. I believe there are tools out there. I believe technology has gotten a lot better. I hope and plead with the districts and with the schools to make some changes, to really listen to all of the three-legged stools that we have here of mental awareness, of school security, physical security, and the laws. My focus is solely on the school security piece, and that's something that has to be addressed and adhered to. We need standard operating procedures. We need proper training for the teachers who are in the rooms. And speaking again from experience of 8 months of this, it is not put out there enough. There is not enough training that can be done for these teachers and administrators who are dealing with massive amounts of students throughout the day to have to deal with an active school shooting scenario. Please, if you have rules, learn them. If you don't, adopt them. If you're not sure how they work, learn them. There are a lot of smart people out there that understand this epidemic. They understand what's going on out there. Please reach out to them, make some changes, and I am pleading to this cause that I will not change my direction until some things are changed at not only the district level, the state level, but the national level. This is a big, big issue, and I plead, please pay attention to this. Thank you.